Good evening, everyone. Backseat Drivers number 10, Spanish
Number 10.
Grand
That's
Prix preview. We're 10 episodes in.
double digits. We made it, Dave. Pop the champagne. We're big time
I've,
YouTubers now.
I've, I've got some water. Is that close enough?
Close enough.
So we're here. Hi, everyone. Yeah, Spanish Grand Prix preview this weekend. Where do we want to kick off? That's got a bit of a scar on his forehead.
I've got my Harry Potter
Yeah.
scar healing up now.
It has healed up. If anyone cares, and I've got a Cam Waters or possibly Ken Block hat on.
I expect some donuts and stuff outside later, Dave.
I can't turn my head the right way with the camera, but yeah, there's Tickford Racing and whatever there. So yeah, it is a Cam Waters one, not Ken Block one. So big news this week. No Russian Grand Prix. Well,
is that really a big news or surprise though?
No replacement for the Russian Grand Prix is more what we should be saying. So
they're just a week off.
What do you mean? Yeah.
Like, is it just?
Yeah. They're just they're only 22 rounds this year.
Oh, so you know what that means, Dave? They can spend more time at Monaco for just holiday or tax reasons, or just that'll help the 180 days.
Yeah, I forget where it was actually supposed to sit on the calendar.
It was down near the bottom, I think.
Paired with, so yeah, I'm not sure when they get the weekend off, but yeah, it's not good for fans of racing, but also the calendar is getting very blocked up, I suppose, with that many weekends being taken up, especially here in Australia. I suppose it's not the most convenient sport to watch. Let's say that.
Yeah, I've noticed that's the problem with F1. If you follow, say, English Premier League or AFL, there's not a lot of time zone difference. Whereas F1, you do have to be very dedicated with your viewing. There's no, okay, at 2 a.m, all the games start. I'm going to watch these, go to bed. There was some, what actually is the worst one to watch, Dave, in terms of time zone?
See, a lot of people say like the American races are the worst ones probably because they start usually around, say, 4 o'clock in the morning and that. But I don't find them too bad because I'll just go to bed early, set the alarm early, and then get up, and then kind of the race finishes more for starting a normal day. So I don't find those as bad. I really struggle with the ones that start around the kind of midnight area because you don't really get enough sleep beforehand, or if you stay right up, then you're not getting to bed till 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's just a nightmare. And in these days of social media and everything, there's not much chance of kind of waiting to watch it till Monday night anymore. I know back in the old days it was a hell of a lot easier. Back in the school days you could, it didn't matter so much because you were at school, so you could have a nap during the day on Monday. But yeah, you could record it and watch it on the Monday night, and chances are it wasn't going to get spoiled. Whereas,
I imagine a lot of people at your school weren't talking about the F1 the next day.
There was a few, but yeah, it's definitely was a lot more niche back in those days. Yeah, it's a lot more people are talking about it now.
That's the Drive to Survive thing. The old Netflix fans.
Yeah. I think it had been growing in popularity kind of before that, just in general kind of terms anyway. Or maybe I just find people who want to talk about it because I know, hey, I can ask that idiot because he can answer questions.
Actually, I was going to ask about Drive to Survive. How long's the season? I need something to watch on a plane, and I'm thinking Drive to Survive might be my...
10 episodes, and I think they're around 40-odd minutes each.
Okay, because I think I have about 10 hours to kill, so...
Yeah.
I might watch all of them and give you my review. I might just watch season 4 though, because we already know what happened.
That's the problem because, yeah, spoiler alert, Max wins. Uh, for those people sitting on the edge of the seat still, that's probably why I haven't watched it yet.
Because you'd probably know exactly everything that goes on in the episode, and there'd be nothing. They're more aimed for people like me, though, aren't they? Not for
yeah, it's
super
definitely
fans.
aimed more at newer fans and things like that. I suppose, yeah, the diehards. I don't mind it though, and I actually found it quite interesting watching season 3 late last year because a lot of time had passed, and then like especially with the pandemic and that when that first kicked in, it was covering a lot of that, and it was quite interesting looking back at it now. Like the things that seem, you know, so minor now were big things at that time, and certain things that have now played out, you know, like driver moves and things like that. So from that respect, it was kind of interesting to look back a bit at a history lesson, I suppose.
I think I'll watch season 4 then, and I'll give you a book report review on
A
the.
review.
Yeah, we'll do a special episode. Matt reviews F1 from the eyes of an idiot, and I think it's the.
I heard this year though, like with last year's one, they followed because there was actually a title fight. I heard that they have followed the title fight a lot more, so you miss out on, like, you don't have an episode that kind of focuses on Haas, and you don't have an episode that focuses on, you know,
So
Jet Force India and things like that. It's a bit more like the Max and Lewis
So
kind
I
of
imagine
show.
this year will just be what Red Bull and Ferrari chatting.
Quite possibly. It seems they've started to a bit of backstabbing already starting to happen with
Backstabbing?
yeah, well, you know how they always have arguments, but Ferrari's kind of come out this week and said we're not sure how Red Bull already done so many you know, updates to the car when there's a budget cap, and Red Bull came back and basically said, well, drivers haven't been crashing into walls, and we haven't had to spend millions of dollars fixing cars, so we can spend millions of dollars updating them.
Well, speaking of breaking $1 million Ferraris, Dave, I have a a question that's bothered me this week. So this week was the Monaco historical round, which I learnt is a thing.
I haven't seen the footage, but I did see the photo.
So essentially, what I've seen and what I understand chatting to you before, this is a historical Niki Lauda's car, and even I've seen drive, so I know the historical significance of said car. Smashed it into a wall at Monaco. Why are you driving a car that's I would imagine is worth 7 or 8 digits? It's a fairly priceless car of the F1.
Interestingly, there was 2 were auctioned this week, and I think they.
An oopsie. me bumping pushing a Ferrari into a crash is a.
And what was it? A 1976 Niki Lauda Ferrari race
Like
car.
even I know what that car is, Dave. It just seemed.
It's not like you you know, took out a new whatever model they are now, like the 550 or whatever they are, kind of thing. And it's not like you took a brand new one where you can just ring up spare parts and go, hey,
you don't ring
can
up
I get a
Repco
new front
say,
bumper?
Yeah. I would have thought, from what it looked like, he was properly racing it too, wasn't he? This wasn't like a Sunday crew.
I haven't seen any footage, but I did. Heard there was a mechanical failure of some kind.
I've seen him talking to, I've forgotten his name, but yeah, he said there was a brake failure. I just don't understand why you're taking out very expensive. I mean, in 20 years' time, I'd have no problem someone taking out Latifi's old car and just having a spin. And if that got hit by a pole, I don't think anyone's going to be too concerned.
Well, it's used to be.
Unless it turns out he becomes a world champion and this video makes me look like an idiot. And we'll all be like, remember when he won 5 times in a row? because
Just quietly, I think we're pretty safe on that one.
yeah, a lot of my predictions go wrong, but I think Latifi not becoming world champion is one of them.
Yeah, I'm getting the suspicions that this might be Latifi's final year. Yeah,
Sounds like it's a lot of people's final year this
I,
year, if papers are to be believed.
um,
There's,
backseat
I,
drivers 200. Let's get 20 in the book bag first before we start worrying about
no,
200.
I like the confidence. 200 episodes. This will be good.
So who else is in their final year?
I've
Other
heard
than
Ricardo and is it Bottas has got supposedly has got
Ricardo will be fine. Bottas has got a contract for next year because it was it was at least a 2-year deal with Sauber, whatever they call it, Alfa Romeo.
Yep.
Um,
I've read many articles that
yeah.
I think are just written by people like me who've just said something and gone, "Ah, this guy's going to be gone."
I think a lot of people are getting carried away, like say with the Dan thing. I'm pretty sure he has a contract for next year, and then who do you replace him with? Like if you can't get Piastri, say, then who else does McLaren look to put in that seat?
Well,
Because
the other thing that I was always reading was the Jack Doohan, they said was supposedly getting a F1 tryout, and
yeah, he's going to test, but then I haven't watched F2 this year again, so I'm not sure how he's actually doing. But I would have thought Jack will probably spend 2 years in F2 before.
so I was going to say, what's the time frame of being tested to actually getting a seat?
The problem is though, because he was with the Red Bull Academy, so and for whatever reason they decided they wanted to switch across to the Alpine Academy. So he's now an Alpine driver. But the issue with Alpine is now they haven't got anywhere to place all their young drivers that they have. And this is why Piastri isn't driving this year. Yes, he is testing with Piastri sometime very soon.
All Australian team. Super all Australian team.
The problem is with Alpine, realistically, they have to get rid of Alonso to bring Piastri in. So, because they signed Ocon to this 5-year contract last year. So now he's locked in for a period. Then if you bring Piastri in, you've had to have got rid of Alonso to bring Piastri in, which that's a big call because, I mean, Alonso's doing as good as Ocon's doing at the moment. So that's a very hard decision. Then you bring Piastri in, which you're going to have to at least 2-3 years with Piastri. Then what do you do with, say, someone like Doohan?
But would it be cheaper running the kids than having Alonso?
Oh, it definitely would be cheaper. But you've got to go, depending on, like they've got intentions of being a top team. Like at the moment, you've got Alonso's doing as good as Ocon, so he's going to get points every. Piastri is the hard one because he just goes out and wins championships. So, which is a bit different to someone like Mick Schumacher coming in, which needs 2 years to get up to speed. But realistically, even Piastri coming in, he's probably going to get smashed by Ocon the first year.
Well, he'd be the second driver, wouldn't he? And Ocon would be, if Alonso goes, Ocon becomes number one. Yeah, Piastri number two. Yeah. And then he can get smashed because it's not like he's the number one and they expect a lot.
But the problem, you kind of lose that second gun in the fight kind of thing.
That would be a very youthful team.
Yeah,
you'd have a very, very youthful team as opposed to like McLaren right now. Not McLaren, Mercedes with #blessed and George.
The oldest one in the field, I think.
Yeah, but like obviously George looks like he can handle himself, and if next year or the year after he becomes the number one driver, he looks like he can handle whoever comes along.
Yeah, but see, George spent 3 years at Williams before getting.
Oh, so that's the time frame. Yeah, I guess that's the time frame of.
Yeah, And for whatever reason, Mercedes decided that he wasn't ready until year 4 to be promoted, which I think was ridiculous.
Do you reckon he should have come in a year or two earlier?
Definitely 1 year earlier, if not two. But I don't think they didn't want to upset the apple cart.
Ah, because he did well. He did well in that one race last year, didn't he? Almost did.
That
And
was
then
the year before. It
was
was
that 2020?
2020. Yeah, because that was when Sergio ended up winning for Jet Force India, whatever they were called, Racing Point.
Racing Point.
Yeah, in the
Racing Point. Yeah, the
pink
pink car.
Mercedes.
That was a good car. That was clearly they just had some crayons out for COVID and just went, pink will do. It's all we've got left.
That was someone paid him a lot of money and said, "I want that car to be pink."
I would, if someone wanted to pay me money to paint my car pink, Dave, I'll be running down there to get a.
Yep. If someone was offering him that kind of whatever color you want,
Yep.
I'll even dye my hair.
I would also dye my hair pink, have the car pink, and go nuts. If Russell was in last year's car, yes, I believe he would have, and I believe there would have been a lot more whinging from old #44 because.
But yeah, and then also you do wonder then though whether they would have challenged for the championship that closely because they would have been stealing points off each other, which is a hard thing. Like you nearly want the second driver to be close enough to push them, but not actually take points off them.
So like a Rubens, old Mister Number 2 at Ferrari.
Barrichello was very good because he was very good at setting the car up and things like that as well.
Was he the best number 2 driver for a while? Because I remember it was essentially Schumacher and then Rubin essentially. Because there was that one time where he was told to slow down to let Schumacher overtake in the fast and loose days of radio commands of just let Dave overtake you, Matt. It's all right. It's all good. We just need Dave to win this race. Make it look like you need to slow down.
When they did not care.
Yeah, there was a lot of things like that.
I think that one really blew up though because they were it was like round 6 of the championship or something, and they were already that far in front. Like it was pretty much a done deal. What I will say though, Schumacher did then move over later and let Barrichello win a couple of races too. Like he did pay him back for those wins. Whereas,
but it was all tactical. Like he needed the once he was winning.
Yeah, and that's like some of them do it very. Like I remember, Nigel Mansell moved over a few times for Riccardo Patrese in like '92 because you were helping out a mate that had helped you previously, kind of thing.
But they would have been token wins of just like I'm already 20 points ahead. It doesn't matter if you get the win. I can take I'll take second today.
Yeah, but it was also a bit of a thank you for help. Like when Barrichello moved over in Austria for Schumacher, and then Schumacher did his interesting antics in the US Grand Prix. It was a bit of a thank you. Like you moved over for me, so now that it's all done and dusted,
I assume you can't get away with that kind of shenanigans now. At the they'd be a bit more scrutinised.
Yeah, but some drivers do it, and others are probably a little bit. They forget that their teammates help them out at times, and then you just complain on the radio if they had to move over for someone. Whereas back in those days, I mean, the drivers kind of did it themselves. Also, some of them. Obviously, there's been some incidents over the years, like Villeneuve Senior and I'm trying to think who was his teammate, where they had an agreement not to challenge each other, and then they did.
But you sort of have to do that because essentially to win, you need one person to be, dominant and win most of the races, and then to win the constructors, you need your second to finish on the podium,
Second.
essentially. Second, as
Yeah.
Lee has written, Mr. Bridesmaid, you need to be
Mm,
never the bride, always the bridesmaid, just enough to
mm.
prop up the team for
But
the.
essentially, like last year, in the end, it kind of came down that um, Bottas had done a better job than Perez, and that's Mercedes still got the constructors' championship. But you want that second driver to probably be able to take points away from at least the second driver on who you're up against, and
So
hopefully
you'd want to
taking
come
points
second then,
off. Yeah, yeah, you want the
push them
second
down
driver
to
to come
third. Yeah,
second, but yeah, on those days where they don't, you want them to at least be in third rather than fourth or gone missing, um, which you know Bottas and Perez seem to go missing at times. Although Bottas is doing exceptionally well this year, so
coming
he,
second.
yeah, either the well, I'm not. I think he's like fifth in the championship or something.
Because one of my other points, Dave, is
Yeah,
that it seems to pop up is Mario Andretti F1 team.
Michael
Now,
Andretti.
Michael. Well, see, all I said is Andretti, and I remembered
Hmm.
Mario Andretti from songs and video games. So I assume that's his son that he wants to start a F1 team.
Yes, yeah. So Michael actually drove in Formula One in '93, I think it
And
was.
I assume he's loaded then if he's starting an F1 team.
No, but he's got some big backers.
Oh, so this is a
Yeah,
group effort.
yeah. So they're kind of the front of it all, and apparently they've got a lot of money sitting there ready to pay the entry fee and ready to go.
Would they be
Start building a.
poaching drivers, or have they got drivers
I
sitting in there?
I think they're looking to do an American, um, at
All
least
American
one,
team?
if not, yeah, both seats American. So I think it'd be a hard sell to bring, like a known name, unless you're getting someone, like a Vettel
Who are the
or
biggest American names that don't have seats right now?
the top guys in IndyCar. Like
Also,
they'd be
they just grabbed to IndyCar.
well, they're talking like Colton Herter and Pato Award, who both got like McLaren testing contracts.
And I assume they both have a super license and the required points.
Neither of them have the points for a super license.
So how does one become? I thought to
Well,
become an F1 driver, you need the super
yeah.
license.
What's hard with this as well? Like these two, by the time Andretti gets set up and everything, these two are going to be older. Um, so we probably should be looking further down the line. Like Logan Sargent, I think, is another guy coming through. But I think they will look at the IndyCar points system
Oh,
because
that's what I was going to.
the
Yeah, F Lee said.
points are very low.
Yeah, F2. How many
Hmm.
seasons do you have to do well in F2 to get your super license? It's about three,
Well,
isn't it? Two or three?
well, it depends where you finish because I think you need 40 points, and I think first in F2 is actually 40 points.
Oh, so
So I
you
think
only need one good season.
if you can magically go along, but see if you win F2, you'll have you've at least probably finished in the top five the year before in F2, or you've won F3 or something like that. Which I think F3s you probably get like 30 points if you win F3. So someone like
You'd be quite comfortable with points
yeah,
then.
Piastri, even though really he's probably only got 2, maybe 3 years of scoring points on the ladder system, he would have more than enough. But see, some of these guys like Pato Award and Colton Herter, because the IndyCar system's so low, I can't remember exactly what they are, but I think it's ridiculous. Like you get 10 points if you win the IndyCar championship.
Because I think we looked at it a while ago. Because even
Yeah,
supercars, you got points for it, but not nearly
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
You
But I
can't
think
use that
like
as a path.
Supercars nearly got as many points as IndyCar It was something
Ah,
ridiculous like that. Which I mean, F1's doing it to, you know, essentially so people go through their ladder system and do F3, F2, and
so
move up.
from what Lee's saying, it's pretty much 40 points in IndyCar as well.
Oh, so you do get 40, but I think it drops away dramatically or something, though, doesn't it?
It goes down quicker as you get
It's
lower. So I'm
yeah,
assuming if you win IndyCar, you're through, and if you come
yeah,
second, third, you lose points
yeah. But it
drastically.
might be something like then 30 and then 20 or something like that for second and third, where F2 might be, like 35 for second, and they go all the way down to like 10th position in F2. But I think IndyCar it might only be like the top 3 or 5 or something.
So how long do the
Lee,
points
if you could
last
look
for?
that up.
Yeah,
Um,
Lee is our resident super license expert now.
I think they last for 5 years.
Oh, so you've got a fair amount of
Yeah,
time to earn
yeah.
some
You can
points.
you can build them up over a period of time.
But the problem is, if
So
you take too long, they're not going to take you know, close. If you start doing well at about what 24, and it takes you 5 years, and you're closer to 30, you're probably going to have a lot less chance. Oh, you
yeah,
get 40 for first, second, and third.
yeah. See that? Yeah, there you go. The F2 system is weighted very well in
How
comparison.
how quickly, Dave, could I become an F2 driver? Can I just get an F2
How
car?
much money have you got?
Not much because I've just bought a house, but what do I need? How quickly can I get into an F2 from here? Like,
A a no offense, but you've got to fit in the car in the first place.
let's imagine I'm
Um,
not over 6 foot tall. I'm a lot shorter. I'm a
well,
happy
I,
5 foot
I,
5.
I was saying you kind of fail on probably the height and the width, but
Look. Let's pretend I'm 5 foot 5, and I haven't had a diet of Hungry Jacks and kebabs for the last 2 years. Let's pretend that I'm a vegetarian.
I would take normally guys in cars. It would take a good 5 years
Seems like a lot of
to get
work.
to F2. By the time you finish karting and that, you go and do
Oh no
say
no no, we're
full.
not karting, Dave. I'm gonna go eBay, buy myself an old F2, and just rock
I'd
up in
just
a
go
trailer.
straight in there. Yeah, it's not
Can I
quite
buy
how
my
it
way
works.
in,
You
aka the old daddy stole? Just
yeah.
get me a seat.
Well, Stroll actually didn't do. So they were a bit dodgy because the super license thing was coming in. So they bought their way onto the F1 grid the year before, so that then
So
he didn't need to get enough points. Although he
so they
did win
essentially paid their
the.
way through.
Oh
It
yeah,
it
yeah,
almost sounds,
but
Dave, like a bribe. That's how bribes work, Dave. You give someone a large amount of
yeah,
money, and they let you do things that you otherwise would have to work hard for. That's
that's yeah.
generally how bribes work, Dave.
Now, not to say like Stroll and King Latifi are exceptionally good drivers. Like I'm not saying I would be even close to them on the track, but they have paid a lot of money to get where they are. Like a lot of money. Papa Stroll would have spent at least $500 million, I reckon,
$500 million.
to get Lance to where he is.
So you're
Which
saying I would need about $1 billion then, because I have
no,
way.
look, Latifi's have not spent anywhere near that. But yeah, Papa Stroll pumped a lot of money into Williams. To
That sounds
yeah,
like a
yeah,
that sounds like a lot.
fright, frightening amounts of money.
It sounds like a lot of money to be a low end team.
Well, that's why he went and bought Force India to get him
Ah,
into a better team.
which is still a
So
slightly better team, but not a.
if you put in, the fact that he bought Force India, then he bought Aston Martin, so he can brand the team something good. Um,
Papa Stroll sounds pretty good.
Papa Stroll would have, it would be into the billions probably when
That
you
sounds.
factor in
What is
everything.
what's Papa Stroll's claim to money?
He's the Tommy Hilfiger, whatever brand or whatever in North America, I think.
Oh, okay. So
And
he has a bit of money.
yeah, yeah, and he's like that was I think the first one he really um, like he was the head man or whatever. But he's done the same thing with a lot of other brands as well. Like
So would
brought them into North America and Canada and things like that. And he's a very successful businessman.
would Andretti F1 have to spend close to $500 million to get their team like with everyone helping? Would there be about $500 million spent on that team?
Realistically, if you're serious to get into F1 now, you probably need a billion
And is this
to.
a new team or are they buying an old?
They want to set up a new team because they were going to buy Sauber, but they didn't like the terms at the
So essentially,
at
there'll
the
be two new
11th
seats
hour.
at the
Yeah,
in the race.
if they get allowed in. But you've got a $200 million entry fee you've got to pay now, or an
E-
anti-dilution fee. So all the other teams get, 20 million bucks off you. Um,
So it's a
and
pyramid
then
scheme now, Dave. This is sounding very.
kind of, because they're doing it a bit more like a franchise system. Um, and then essentially, like you'd have to spend $100 million, say, setting up everything, and then you probably
Yep,
need you need
Lee's
a
right.
budget of, yeah,
You
bribe the other teams.
you bribe the teams, join the triangle scheme that they have.
Hmm.
You know, the money trickles down, Dave. This so essentially you
It's a
bribe your fate.
multi-level.
Yeah, it's a so
Yeah,
essentially, Dave, you got
it's
to
not a
bribe the.
pyramid scheme. It's a multi-level marketing.
So
Um,
you have to bribe the FIA to get your son on
hmm.
that doesn't have a license. Then you got to bribe 20 others. Are you telling me in the future when we do Backseat Drivers episode 500 and there are 37 teams on the grid and you need
Hmm.
to donate $10 million to everybody?
Hmm.
Will the older teams like Ferrari and McLaren earn a bit more because they've been at the top of the pyramid a
Well,
bit longer?
I was gonna say I'm not sure if the 200 million gets divided evenly
I was about
between
to say,
everyone.
I'm pretty
Um,
sure.
yeah, but in round terms. But it's also because now I think they should change the Concord agreement that all the teams sign, or whatever it's called now. Um, but that's essentially the contract that they have with Formula One, that we're going to turn up and blah blah blah. And under that, the top 10 teams get prize money. So at the moment, it's all hunky dory. All 10 get prize money. There's like it's a weird way that it's all set out, but essentially everyone gets, say, a column A payment, and then the column B payments are paid on your championship position. And then there's like a column C or whatever that's like Ferrari gets a bonus X amount, and then McLaren,
Sneaky
Williams,
payments.
Mercedes, Red Bull, and I'm not sure. I assume Alpine still gets theirs as well, where they get bonuses depending on their agreements and that, with being legacy teams and things like that. And in Mercedes and Red Bull's case, being very successful recently, so they get a little bit extra out of the pot. But then, so if an 11th team comes in, that means whoever's 11th in the championship doesn't get prize money.
Also, so if they did just started adding more and more teams, and you got
Mm.
to say 15 teams, there would
Yeah,
be 5 teams that pay into this triangle
yeah.
marketing scheme and
Mm.
potentially get nothing.
Mm.
But the
But
first 10 that join.
you used to find, like, in the 90s and that, I didn't notice it as much because you were a lot younger and you didn't understand the finances as much in that. But teams, because the top six only got points back then, and you get an odd race where a lot of cars blew up, and like Minardi would fluke like a fifth position or something, and they'd be partying because that basically meant that they were that far ahead of the
Ah,
teams that were, like 10th, 11th, 12th or whatever in the championship, that they're like, we're home and hose, we're getting prize money this year. And they used to, with the travel, used to get subsidised as well if you're in the top 10 too.
Who was the old Minardi boss? Because that was Webber's old team, wasn't it?
Yeah, so Webber started there. So it was set up by Giancarlo Minardi, and then Paul Stoddart bought it in 2000, I think it was.
He's the one that would have been with Webber, right?
Yeah, he was
the one I
the
remember.
one.
Yeah.
I
he
remember. Gave Webber his shot. Yeah. So he was pretty good for, you know. Unfortunately, he was only a millionaire, not a billionaire. So
what a loser!
It got to the point where he couldn't continue. He couldn't take on, you know, like Toyota in a spending war.
Couldn't afford the FIA secret payments under the in the envelope under the doormat.
Yeah. Well, that was a different period where you had like 8 car manufacturers, and then him and Jordan trying to do it on a shoestring budget while, you know, Toyota's coming in and spending, you know, more than you could ever imagine, and yeah, are we finishing just ahead of them most of the time?
Well, didn't Eddie Jordan have a lot of creative, what was it, interpretations of the rules?
In ways of financing the team, yeah. They actually, I can't recall a time where they ever got pinged for doing anything untoward.
Did anyone get pinged though back in the day for from what I've seen, most of the
Yes.
fines were sort of like, you know, we caught you, but you know, try not to do it.
Don't do that anymore.
Yeah, like now it's like proper bans, but back then it was sort of like, hey Dave, we saw what you did. Maybe just stop it for a bit.
Well, one of the biggest ones I remember, Tyrrell, it was like 82 or 83, I think, when the turbo cars were really coming on song. Might have been 84, because they were the last ones to not have a turbo motor. And they were putting lead in the water-cooled brakes. So essentially you could run water-cooled brakes, and then you could refill the reservoir at the end of the race to bring the car up to the weight or whatever. And they were putting lead in the water-cooled brakes. And so the first time, like on the warm-up lap or whatever, you'd hit the brakes or whatever, and all the lead would fall out, and off you'd go and be running like 50 kilos underweight for the race. And then they'd refill the water tanks back up at the end of the race to bring it back up to weight. And they actually got kicked out of the championship for it, yeah.
Oh, that's so a proper...
Their results gone for the year. So then that was a proper one. Whereas even like McLaren's 2007 one, that was a bit of a, because they got the championship position taken away from them, but the drivers kept the points and stuff like that.
Well, normally, if it's a team decision, you don't really want to punish the.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Tyrrell one, they basically got wiped off the record books for the years. I think the drivers didn't, any of their results or whatever don't count.
Is Tyrrell the one that had the six wheeled car?
Yeah, they were the one with the 2 front wheel one.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is technically that's Mercedes now.
That's. Is there any chance of that kind of what do we call it?
Innovation.
Shit stirring, just to create.
I think the biggest thing we get to see these days is like the Mercedes coming out with no side pods.
Yeah, I was going to say, is the biggest innovation right now is Ferrari have pods, Mercedes do not have pods. We're not going to see like a bigger wing or that the stuff they had on the side, the downforce generator thing. Yeah, the skirts.
Yeah. The rules are. It's funny. A lot of people have come out and basically said that they didn't expect the cars to be so different this year, because the rules were, so prescriptive that they figured everyone was basically going to find the same like path or whatever. And but you have got quite different philosophies, like from at least the top 3 teams. But as you go through the field, like the cars do actually look quite different.
Yes.
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
pods. I have some other things that I've noted.
Yeah.
Supposedly, if Daniel Ricciardo starts this race, it will be the most starts for an Australian driver.
Really?
Yes, this is what
I'm just
I've
trying to. Yeah.
because
Yeah. No,
he
because
overtakes Mark Webber.
Yeah, because there's more races now, and yeah, he would have been around longer than.
Because he's been in it now 10
Yeah.
years, and Webber was in it
Yeah.
10. He'll be close to 10.
I think was 2011 was Ricardo's
Yep.
debut with HRT, and then 2012, I think. Yeah, there you go.
Oh yes, when they dropped the jewelry in Monaco, when they put the fancy jewels on the. See that kind of stuff, Dave. That's what I miss. The Star Wars livery and putting $10 million jewels on an F1 car and then mysteriously go missing. Is that one of the payments to a team? Because it sounds very suspicious that both of them disappeared.
And they were insured. Convenient.
Very, very convenient.
Oops, didn't put enough glue
Because
on that one.
that was Ocean's 11, wasn't it? They were advertising.
Yes.
Because you don't have
Yeah.
many of them anymore, do you? You don't have movie tie-ins. Like, will I be seeing?
No, the movie thing's really died down.
I'm just saying, Top Gear's coming out soon. Top Gun's coming out soon. Can we at least have jet fighter helmets for the pit crew?
Well, Tom Cruise is a Formula One fan and has done a bit with Red Bull in
Well,
the past.
He's
He
also
has,
a NASCAR. Was it Days of Thunder? That was a NASCAR.
yeah. No, but he did actually drive a Red Bull at one point. It was
really?
probably, yeah, it was probably like 10, 15 years ago or something now. But he did actually, yeah, they did one of those filming kind of day things. And yeah, he got to take a spin in a Formula One car. Lucky prick.
He would fit in a Formula One car because he's not
He's not a tall man.
No.
They probably would have had to move the pedals up for him. My problem with interacting with people in the chat is that I get distracted trying to do two things at once.
But no, we did discuss the jewelry that mysteriously went that disappeared.
Yeah, I think Lee might be referring to the 40 kilos of jewelry on Hamilton's.
Oh, the 3 watches and the jewelry.
Apparently, he's going to come with 4 watches to Spain.
I read that he said that he did it for time zones. That was the reason he had it. He needed to know the time zone where he was, obviously in Monaco, and where his jet was at the time, so he could ring his.
Don't backtrack on it. Just you've licked the stamp. Now just send it. you got to stick with it.
Oh, we got our first prediction for the night.
Yeah.
Chalk, Max, Sainz, Norris, Russell. That's not a bad.
I think I'm going to go with Red Bull for this weekend.
You going Red Bull? I was actually going to say Red Bull.
Max.
I feel like Leclerc. He's still nervous about crashing the car, and it's gonna weigh him down for the race. And again, all of my predictions have come horribly wrong. So,
as I said, I don't write mine down, so there's no evidence.
I just say them on a recorded video so people can backtrack and read them.
Yeah. But I'm going on the basis that people won't want to,
that's true.
The time to rewatch this. So
I can make up ridiculous claims.
I'm
going to go Max. I reckon, or I feel like Norris or Russell might actually get a podium. That's my big call.
What was that, Norris or Russell?
We'll get a we'll get a podium finish. But then that would mean that Red Bull have that means Ferrari have gone really, really badly. And actually, I also call it one of the Red Bulls will crash.
Perez?
Lock it in.
Max, I've predicted Max for the win. And then I would probably say the 2 Ferraris behind.
Nah, one of them has to crash. I've called it already, Dave. So you can't have
Well,
two Ferraris.
that's where they need to spend their budget on.
Stop crashing into things.
Not allowed updates. You've got to spend it all on crash damage. So
Do they have they is any team in danger of getting too close to breaking too many parts?
I'd hope not at this point of the year.
Saints
I'd
crash.
say,
See, Lee knows. Lee knows someone will crash.
I'm
I'm
going to
calling
go
it
with
mid-race too. just I know. I've got the feeling, Dave.
So the safety car comes out and somehow screws Hamilton's strategy.
It screws Hamilton, but Russell gets another pit stop. He changes his. He waits for his mate to crash. He does a perfect pit stop, and
Who's going to
Hamilton
be the
gets the wrong
one?
tyres.
Who's going to be the one who goes through the whole race without switching tyres this time?
Oh,
Who's going to go for the Albon
Who
strategy?
I'm going to say who did it in Australia. Albon did it.
Yeah,
Australia.
Albon. And then obviously Russell was going with that strategy until the perfectly timed safety car in Miami.
I feel like someone's going to start the race on hards.
Do you reckon Alonso would be the kind of one to, he looks at those outside the box things like, hey, I can shortcut this thing on the first lap and no one's going to give it. So I'm going to go out and do it. He'll be going, everyone else does this, like hard tyres, just drive the whole race with them. I'll have a crack at that.
Is Bottas a bit of a tyre maniac? Will he go? He looks like every so often he could. Maybe not this early. I think later on.
Yeah.
I think later on, everyone will start trying this one tyre, the old one tyre tactic. Yeah, the old 1TT, as I'm now calling it. Everyone's going to give it a go. I reckon half the field will give it a go by the end of the season. And I reckon it'll.
Whatever you do, don't write that down.
No.
Then you can deny it ever happened.
Wait, how many people have tried the one tyre tactic already? 2?
Yeah. Which obviously Russell didn't end up going all the way through.
But he still tried it, though. That counts.
Yeah,
that should count for my...
that's the plan. We are going to go as far as we can until either a safety car comes out or it's the last lap and we have to pit.
Yep. So, wait, Andrew, I'm going to take the first 3 as a box trifecta. All right. I'm going to go with my my multis.
What does a box trifecta mean?
Is that like a multi or something?
I'm not a gambling man.
I only go on the sports bet website to look at wacky odds for everything, like the F1 and currently it looks like your money's safest in Ferrari or Red Bull, and nowhere else.
Yeah, the problem is as well they've got very good now at
finish in any order.
Okay. Yeah.
So who we got? Cock Max Saint. Oh yeah, that could work.
Yeah, you're pretty safe, I think.
I still feel like Norris or Russell will get a
cheeky podium.
I reckon one of them will get. I don't think.
What about Dan to sneak through? And
I would love Dan to get a sneaky podium.
We just waiting for Monza for him to go out and dominate.
I'm actually hoping that if he wins anything, it's Monaco, so he can do his swan dive into the pool. I know that was a Red Bull pool, but
he just goes and crashes the Red Bull pool.
Look, I reckon, Mr. Ginger Spice would let him in and just let him jump in the pool.
I reckon they probably would actually.
They'd be happy for him.
I don't think there's massive hard feelings there. I think they're probably still a bit pissed off that they'd given up Carlos Sainz as well, and then he left, and they haven't really had a good number 2 since. Sorry to the Perez fans.
So, finish any order. Oh, yep. We'll keep that one. I might look at that one afterwards, Dave. See if that can help pay the mortgage.
I've been locked out of my sports bet account because I didn't use it enough or something. So I have to go into a store or something and
a sports bet store.
Oh, something. I didn't realize. I was just like, that looks like too much work. But I have to prove who I am or something. to be able to get into it.
I feel like we should maybe take viewer advice and try putting on $10 bets, and
Try
then
putting on some bets.
see if we can by the end of the season at
How
least
much?
have a profit.
How
If we
much money we lose?
if we can finish this season with enough money to buy a slab of Pepsi Max and a kebab each, I would consider that a win. And we're obviously not going to take my picks because mine are ridiculous. We'll take the, though Lee seems to think Sainz will crash. I think you can
Yeah,
do bets on who crashes and who doesn't, or not who crashes, who doesn't finish the race. So
yeah,
who do we
yeah. They
think is going
don't
to
do
have mechanical
crashes.
failures?
Well, it's more fun to talk about crashes.
Each way, yeah. I think there's going to be a bit of time
Hmm.
on sports bets from now on, Dave. We're going to we're going to pick
I'll,
out mechanical failures. I think
I'll,
that'll be
I'll
fun.
have to get my account up and running again.
Do you have anyone, Dave, that will have a mechanical failure this race? That would just pull
No,
off to the side, jump out, and go, sorry, gentlemen. There's nothing. I got nothing.
Alonso and disappoint all of his home fans again.
Oh, money on Latifi to crash it. Yeah, but that's easy money, Lee. I mean,
Mm.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but that is proper easy money.
It's like saying water is wet.
Yeah, the sun will rise, Latifi will crash.
For those who can read the live chat there, I don't think we need to repeat that one. Oh, that's a great one. Well, I nearly lose
I'll
my
pay that
headphones.
one. That's a good one.
Sorry, I've just got to fix up my headphones.
Oh, we've got
There we
technical
go.
issues, David. This is
Technical issues.
proper
I
professionalism.
shouldn't move around in the seat. We've just had someone steal the show in the comment section.
But I'll be the one laughing, Dave, when I have my super multi and I come back a winner.
Yeah.
And we
With
buy a slab of Pepsi Max.
$1.05 odds going, really, out there for the top three favourites.
I think Ferrari and Red Bull are about $1.10 and the rest of them are like $30, and they're not even.
So they don't have a chance really. No. I would actually like to see Carlos win this weekend in front of his home crowd. That would actually be good to see.
Is that possible though?
Probably not, because there's two other guys that are faster than him, and one in the same car. So, and I think Charlie seems to be getting on top of it.
Chopstick's just a little late.
That's okay. You can watch the replay on YouTube.
I can sum it up. I give out very amazing advice and insight, and
we've decided we're going to
betting tips.
Yeah, put bets on the Formula One, because that's always a great way to lose money.
Yep.
Then I can buy more hats.
Oh, if we do well, Dave, you can get another hat.
Yeah, I might be able to buy a full price one.
Oh, Dave, hey, Dave, we're baby steps. We're not betting 30-1 for Latifi not to crash.
That's the problem. I get too enticed by those ridiculous bets. Like so and so's like 501 for the championship. Let's go for that one.
I think but Dave, even 501, is a bit much. That's like Latifi to win a race.
Ever.
a single race. Dave, do you think Latifi will finish on a podium by the end of the year?
No.
Who would be the best outsider to finish on a podium this year?
Well, what do you class a McLaren as an outsider?
No, I do not class the McLaren as an outsider. I meant the wacky bottom of the grid who might just You know,
I mean, like Bottas, Magnussen, and Albon have all probably got a very good chance.
I was going to say
If
Albon seems to be doing
yeah,
quite well, getting from the
hmm,
back like
hmm,
15 positions up.
yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't
If
mind Mick Schumacher winning, getting a podium. That would be pretty cool.
yeah, I don't know what's Mick's. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened this year with Mick because he looked so good last year. And I mean, his competition questionable. Um, but yeah, this year he just doesn't seem there. Even like he was fast at Miami, but then he crashes into was it Patel? It was just I don't know. It's really weird. Yeah, it is easy to look good next to Mazepin, but how good he made Mick look, and this year I I'm surprised that Magnussen's showing Schumacher the way like quite convincingly. I would have thought that would have been a lot closer battle, but yes. Andrew, yes. Oh, these were cheap. So they were on sale and cheap. So obviously no one wanted to buy them last year. So that's why I went for these. This one was actually the most expensive though of the cheap second lot that I purchased.
Would
So
Daniel Ricciardo be an outsider? I kind of feel like he is now, but I think there's a good chance he gets a podium
yeah, I
just
think
from just.
McLaren are there or thereabouts kind of. It's like saying at the moment nearly like Mercedes gets a podium.
All
Yeah,
right,
they're
Dave. Here's
excited,
my other
but
question: Who
yeah.
gets a podium first? Hashtag 44 or Norris?
I say, well, I don't, yeah, hopefully Norris.
Well, hopefully, but what's your brain telling you?
I still think Mercedes will figure it out at some point and it'll click and they'll be as quick as the other two, if not quicker.
Will it be too late though for them to put up any
I
sort of
think
fight?
I think they're already resigned to the fact that they're probably not going to challenge for the championship this year.
So will they just give you ready for next year, or there's still too many changes for them for next?
No, because the rules basically carry over for next year. So
Oh, so
I
they can
don't, I
essentially
don't
just treat this as a
yeah,
training.
yeah. Yeah, so everything that they figure out this year will carry over to next year. So, and the way that the budget cap and things like that is now, you will see a lot more carryover, I think, over the years. So,
But maybe
and
Ferrari and Red Bull get
I,
too much in
I,
front.
yeah, I think they'll be too far in front by the time Mercedes gets on a roll. That, and then you also then really you need to be ahead so that you can finish 1-2 in every race.
So
So,
potentially whoever if Ferrari win this year, or even
mm,
Red Bull, it'll just be 1-2 again next year, won't it? And Mercedes will still too far back.
he, yeah, unless I think Mercedes will get on top of it though. So yeah, they'll
20,
they'll catch
2020.
up.
Oh yeah, 2026 is when all the new.
Yeah, which that's with the new engine regs, but it's yeah, whether they change the aero regs and that at that point as well. So yes, it is. It can be worth a hell of a lot depending on where you finish in the championship. So I haven't seen any figures for the last couple of years, but yeah, it could be like a $10 million gap between each position
Is that prize money for the team or the actual race?
for the team.
Is
So
$10 million? Isn't $10 million me finding a dollar in the behind the couch for a team that's worth $1 billion?
well, because of the what is it, 145 million or whatever the budget cap now. So yeah, it's
148 million.
is that what Merck's prize money was for last year, Lee? Because then essentially you could run the team on the prize money.
So you could potentially do more R&D off your prize money, and that would
Well,
be
now they're
legally
not
covered.
allowed to. Now they're not allowed to spend more than 145. I think it is.
So with the 148 that Lee's written here, they have 3 million left over. Does
Yeah.
that just go into Lewis's watch fund,
Well,
or?
yeah. So the drivers, the top three executives, and the marketing budget is not part of the budget cap. So when you actually worked it back, like say Mercedes $300 million budget, when you took out like Lewis Valtteri's pay packet, and then Toto, um, um, I've gone blank on who there, James Allison and whoever would be kind of number three there. Once you took theirs out, the marketing budget, all of a sudden you start getting like back to say 200 million or whatever. You're like, oh, they don't have to actually cut that much out of the budget.
Oh, that was 2017, so it's probably even more. Oh wait,
The last 2 years, though, it's been affected by COVID and that, so there hasn't been as much income coming in.
oh,
Plus, a lot of the rounds, like say Austria, that had back-to-back rounds and that, they wouldn't have paid two sanction fees, things like that. And like Turkey, San Marino, and that'd be on bug abasement kind of race host fees. So you haven't you're not getting like $100 million from going to Russia and things like that. So
oh.
the yeah, the actual Formula One revenue was down a hell of a lot, which the prize money is a percentage of the revenue of the whole thing.
So Mad Cow Mark doesn't think that Ricardo's getting a podium at all.
That's a big call. Whether
It's
Piastri
a
actually gets a start this year.
well, if he does, Mad Cow Mark's saying that he'll get a start, get a podium, and
And
then be
he'll
like,
get a
done,
podium.
done. I'm the new
Mike,
Australian. Look at me.
Mike,
I'm the new Australian now.
Mike drop and walk out.
I would like to see him turn up, get a podium, and then just go back to testing or whatever. Just as
Well,
he's like 100% podium success rate.
going off his form, he does win the championship in his first year in a series.
So you're saying he'll turn
So,
up, win the F1 World Championship, and be like,
well,
I'm done.
if Lewis retires, they get Piastri in at Mercedes.
Okay.
Mercedes cracks the code to this car over the off season and hits the ground running in 2023.
So it's him and Russell with a supercar.
It could happen.
I
I
mean, that could.
can't see Alonso retiring and him going to Alpine and then Alpine going and winning the championship next year.
So your big call is Hamilton retires, Piastri comes along, wins the championship, mic drop. Ricardo under a lot of pressure to become number one Australian. I mean, the good thing is we'll have two Australians in the
Yeah,
F1.
which hasn't happened for a few years now.
When was the last time there was two Australians in the F1?
When
Quick quiz.
Dan and Mark Webber.
Oh, there was a
Which,
small.
yeah,
There was a small
it
gap, wasn't
was an overlap of a year because Dan essentially replaced Webber at Red Bull.
there? Hashtag 44 will take out the nose ring. What's wrong with the nose ring?
I don't think the nose ring's a problem. I think it's the one in his Johnson. I mean, the one you can't see.
Yep. Lee's right. Front row, Australian. Oh, and Boovies decided to join us an hour and 4 minutes early.
But we've got a strict 1 hour time limit. So
Yeah, I know. We always adhere to this 1 hour time
is it
limit.
because Boovy's in a different time zone?
I believe he's not used to the time zone difference.
It's only half an hour wrong. Why haven't they just fixed that half hour thing?
No more daylight savings or time zones chopsticks.
Yeah.
Just get rid of all the time zones. That way F1 is easier. We can watch it all.
It would be so much easier to understand if you just went, yep, it's all the same thing. But then the cows won't know what time to get up in Queensland.
And the curtains will fade.
No, I've been really slack on watching any of the junior categories recently. So I'll be honest, I didn't even watch the 12-hour last weekend because I spend a lot of time watching car racing, so I've got to draw the line somewhere, essentially. Oh, no, you're not a flat earther, are you?
They can just have a race around the globe. That can be like a super...
The photos from the moon are faked. We never went
Yep.
to the moon.
It's all made of cheese. We'll be better
Yeah,
next.
yeah, 20 cars for a 12-hour race.
Is that it?
Yeah. The problem, because I had to delay it, so you didn't get any of the international cars this year.
Oh, so next year it will be better because everyone
should
come
revert
coming
back to February, and then you'll be able to get the internationals coming back, because it is. I mean, it is for $1 million cars kind of thing. Mine too, Mad Cow.
Yeah, I call mine the kebab belt. It's like keeps me warm at winter.
And yes, I think it was only those 3 Mercedes on the lead lap. And then I think the car in about fifth was about 7 or 8 laps down. Yeah, it was a bit. I watched the highlights that they put up on YouTube. But yeah, whoever put that highlights package together, yeah, it's a 12-hour race. It's hard to do highlights, but fuck me, like it was very hard to follow because they showed like 53-second clips, so you didn't really know what the hell was going on.
Of each hour, or
just of random things. But they'd show like a car crashed into the wall for 3 seconds, and you're like, "How did the car crash?"
Well, they didn't show how it crashed. They just showed a
we won't
crashed
show
car.
that. We just show a car that's crashed in the wall. So,
Scotty, I feel like everyone's in another time zone or daylight savings.
What's with people coming online now? We're just about to log off.
I mean, I've already given out my surefire bet tips.
Yeah.
And
if only we knew the odds.
Yeah. If only I could. Actually, Dave, I have another question, which
okay.
I don't know if other people in the chat
is this the
play.
Last one, or
this can be the last question.
Okay.
F1, the video game, is now published by EA Sports. Now, I don't know if any of your viewers are aware of EA Sports and their we'll call it shenanigans when running.
What is microtransactions, or what are they?
Yeah, so they like to put in loot boxes and microtransactions.
Yeah.
And from what I've been reading and stuff, that a lot of F1 fans are a little concerned that, because I believe F1 was done by Codemasters for many years, and did a decent job of it.
Yeah.
And now there is a yes, chopsticks. It is in the game. That is the greatest. that's when EA was cool, and it played that stupid thing. But now EA has become a a bit questionable for everything that it runs.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There will be microtransactions to unlock new tires and DRS and new skins.
I did hear that Codemasters had been putting in like whatever, like buyable content or whatever. We could buy some of the classic cars and things like that previously, or bonus tracks and things like that. I think they were doing, but yeah, there is a bit of a worry that it's going to be.
Yeah, I think the concern is, while it is still developed by Codemasters Chopstick, EA will get its grubby hands on it and want to push it into a different direction.
EA bought Codemasters, didn't they?
Yes. So EA have essentially. Yeah. So what will
so they're going to want a return on their investment.
Yep.
Which means that you
need to make money off the product constantly. You can't just buy an $80 game and be done with it.
Yeah, and they'll put in the microtransactions or whatever through it, and they'll do smaller updates each year because it costs a lot to develop big updates.
Well,
And
that's what they did with FIFA. Essentially, FIFA
yeah,
became roster update. So if a player moved teams, they would just have to every
which
couple of years they would upgrade the engine, but most of the time it would just be, well, you know, uh, Dave now races for, Matt F1 team. We just
I
need to update it.
imagine the like
I would pay 44 EA bucks to unlock the nose ring, and then I also want to buy the watches for my hand. Oh, so that's a concern.
mm,
EA Sports to take over the World Rally. Because that,
mm,
because did Codemasters do the what was the Subaru driver guy?
Colin McRae.
Colin McRae rally. Because I've got uh
Yeah, I'd have to look that up, but yeah, I
Chopsticks. Is that a paid for?
mm, see. I don't think that would be too bad as long as you paid your $80 or whatever and got the all the tracks and you could play that season or whatever. I don't think it would be too bad if you wanted to go through and pay a bit extra to have some of the old cars or play on old tracks and things like that. What I would find hard with something like that though is say then you go and buy F1 2023,
And you don't have
then
the
do you have to go and buy the tracks and that
yes.
again? Which that's where
They will give you
it would
usually
get
they give you a bonus for being a loyal customer.
yeah.
But yeah, it will be um essentially they'll want, because I think the two things is there's the DLC which you can
Mm,
buy, old tracks, but then there'll be like, as Chopsticks has jokingly said, but they might have it, and Lee has said, you can buy fancy shoes or a fancy livery,
mm,
an old one,
yeah.
or you could spend like $4 and buy a loot box, and it'll be like, what's in the box? It could be what is it, Senna's car, but more than likely it's going to be a
It's a
hat.
third watch.
Yeah, it's a hat or a third a third
Mm.
watch, but they'll tell you that there's a 0.1% percentage that you can win the Senna's.
The really cool thing that you want.
Yeah, you want that car,
Yeah.
but there's no chance of you winning it. But
Mm.
if you spend an extra $4 again, it might be in this box.
Mm.
Run and grab your
But
parents' credit card.
I don't mind if you got some really cool stuff like driving some, really fun old school tracks or whatever. Like I wouldn't mind that so much, but to me I don't get the whole, like pay for a different livery or something like that.
Yeah, you don't want to pay for
I
stuff that
Yeah.
doesn't fix the game. Like, yeah, you'd pay money for a new track or a new car, but not for brand new hat or
Mm.
you know
Yeah.
this tire looks like the one they used in Miami, and it's spray painted with flowers on it, kind of thing. Yes, Chopstick, we could do YouTube bait titles. That's what we need, Dave.
Mm.
Big
Yeah,
changes coming to.
how do we do that?
Yeah, there we go. I opened 100 F1 mystery boxes. We can. I think when we get it, Dave, we'll.
10 million views.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is I don't. I mean, there is a PlayStation 5 in this house, but I don't really have access to it, so I probably won't be getting the game for quite a while. Yes, the old Hockenheim track would be a very fun one to drive on, especially now with everything so sanitized.
Lee, are we wearing all the hats at once? Because I would pay money to.
It's it's only three hats though. Three hats isn't impressive.
No.
97 watches would be.
Oh, so just an arm of watches and then hats.
Yeah.
Yeah, chopsticks. I think Dave and I do need to set up some sort of two-player racing game. I do believe I have my PS3 and Gran Turismo lying around somewhere, Dave, and
If I still had that.
well, I think I raced against one of your ghost times, and let's just say You could probably have a couple of drinks before we did this race. It might make it a little bit more
I,
interesting.
I was doing that with the steering wheel though.
To wear more hats. I like where Chopsticks is going with this. I like this F1 hat simulator game that the more races you win, the more hats you unlock. You pay $20 or so, you can wear all the hats.
You get all the hats.
That's essentially sums up EA games though for most video games. Hats.
That though, 1937 is cheaper than what I spent on all my hats.
But can you
So,
hold the hat, Dave?
well, this is, I mean, they're like those, what are those things called that everyone's investing in now that aren't worth anything?
Or NFTs?
Yeah, it's like investing in NFTs. You get an NFT Codemasters hat.
The motorsports. Do you have F1? Is 22 out now? Do they follow the same release schedule as FIFA, or
don't think? I think it's just about to be released.
okay?
So.
Yeah, Chopsticks. I want this game. I want Formula One hat simulator. And you know what? For 100 gig, that's a good size. Because EA games are usually 400 gig, and they want an update every week because of a new hat.
I didn't remember the old Gran Turismo updates every week.
Oh, I can't use my PS3 right now, Dave, because it needs an update. I packed it in a box. That's for future Matt to deal with.
The worst thing was though because that PS3 I had the small hard drive in it because it was one of the freebie ones it got with the Sony TV. So
I got one of them too.
Yeah, it come with the small hard drives. Every time you went to update Gran Turismo, you had to delete some other thing off the.
I'm currently in that position when I was about to pack it away, and then I just went, I can't deal with this, in the box. So 2nd of July for Hat Simulator 2022.
So we've got 2 weeks to go.
Thank you, Mad Cow.
Thank you.
We'll get kebabs keep us warm during these colder months.
We're actually very cold at the moment because the heater in this rental just shit itself. So let's see how quickly before that gets fixed.
I feel like, Dave, you need to eat more kebabs for that warm kebab belt that's keeping me at a toasty temperature.
Don't worry, I've got an internal heater, so a good thermal mass that stays warm. So people at work, how do you walk around in a t-shirt in this weather? Well, good thermal mass.
SHB Motorsports, is WRC Generations a sequel to any of them, or is that a brand new game?
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
Oh, Hat Simulator for the Wii U. You're talking my language, Chopsticks. That would be the greatest game ever. Now I need to find.
We just need a developer
to make a hat game.
Yeah, F1 Hat Simulator.
I like
17,000 McLaren hats, and Red Bull actually come out with a lot of different like Max Verstappen ones and stuff as well. And then Ferrari, you get one hat at the start of the year.
Oh, they don't do Hat Attack and everyone gets a hat?
Yeah. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but I just noticed that like McLaren and Red Bull really get into doing different ones for different races and stuff. Be cool. Get them on the hotline.
Yeah, just call them up and say, look, we've got plans, we've got ideas.
Backseat Driver's YouTube channel has decided.
We've got some ideas for you.
This is what. This is a big seller. There's going to be like 4 of us buying it.
Oh, a fireproof hat. I like where this is going.
Ooh.
They all need to be fireproof. With the World Rally games, were they the ones you can only have the rally cars in them? Weren't they? There was no, because the last game I played for rally was Dirt 4, which
I was
has
gonna, yeah. I think I had like a very. It could have even been just called WRC. Like it might have been the very first one that came out. But that would have been possibly even PlayStation 2 or something.
because I've got
It
V
was, yeah.
Rally on the N64, which I still have sitting around. I feel like, Dave, we're going to have to bring out some classic races, I think. But I think it's only going to be fair that you're going to have to test out a new drink, and then I will race you, just to make it slightly fair.
What,
Well,
like Pepsi Max or like
no,
Scotch?
no, no, like something that will properly hinder your racing ability. Dirt Rally is pretty good. I've played number 4 a fair bit, and I don't mind the one.
Sega Rally?
Oh, Sega Rally, that's a proper game. Actually, Dave, you
Just
know what we do need to
hold it
get? And I
flat.
had.
Hmm.
We need Daytona Rally. Everyone's favorite, except for mine, because as we found out,
That wasn't
I
actually a
didn't fit.
rally game though.
No, but I could never sit in the thing, Dave. So I had to do the
Hmm.
old heel and toe measurement because one of my feet had to sit outside the little chair because the chair wouldn't go all the way back. But that was
I,
also a good game.
I wonder what one of those machines would cost these days.
I remember early 2000s, they were $10,000 each.
Wow. No, Ron.
No,
I would have loved to, but slightly out of my budget,
I
unfortunately.
think Dave and I are about to have mortgages and cannot
Yeah,
afford the unless that car happened to go for $10, which I doubt.
a little bit more. Just add a couple of.
Oh, Chopstick! I can't keep up with Chopstick's release schedule. There's too many hats.
There's going to be a lot of work developing these hat simulator games.
I would like hats in VR where I can reach
I,
out and grab the hat.
I could imagine this whole development thing being a bit like Silicon Valley TV show.
Pretty much. Actually, Ron, I have
We
looked
get
at
a heap of
Nigel
seed funding.
Mansell's racing game for the Super NES. It is in my watch list. I've spoken to Dave, and there are a bunch of games that may be purchased in the near future that will be played, maybe on this channel, by someone who has no driving ability whatsoever.
Probably a very short game on them as well.
Yes,
Until you lose the plot, not being able to see what's going on the screen.
Daytona Arcade for $12,000. But Boovy, we need two. Oh, you can't just buy one. You have to have a
Yeah,
minimum of two.
you've got to race your mates.
Yeah, you can't just race by yourself.
Yeah,
There needs to be a lot of fighting in it because
$25,000 seems expensive.
it does seem like a lot. Actually, I'm gonna mention this one. This might be a bit controversial for your purist fans, Dave, but Mario Kart. That's uh
It,
that's some
it
good
was
racing
actually
there.
quite a fun game. That used to frustrate the hell out of me because you try and take the proper racing line and someone would shoot one of those bloody um,
Dave, let me
the
explain to you
shell
for
things
start.
at you, and you're
Don't
like,
don't
God
use
damn
words
it!
like driving line and hitting apex in the game of Mario Kart. Mario Kart has blue shell to annoy whoever's good
Those
and
bloody
smashing
banana
into it.
peels and yeah,
Yep,
the things that would make you really small and yeah,
yep, the lightning. Chopsticks, no, see?
twelve
That's
and a
a
half
that's a
thousand dollars for two.
oh Dave, we could go halves.
Hey,
It could live in your shed or garage.
if it ever gets built, because
That's
apparently
true.
my building company is going under. Apparently,
So
although
how about Dave, you buy it and I'll look after it.
they did send us an email today saying nothing to see here, everything's fine, don't stress.
Nothing to
So
see.
we'll see what happens with that. And no,
Well,
no more word on the Adelaide 500, but everyone seems to be expecting it to be the finale in the first weekend of December. So, anyway, on that note, we've
I think we
only
covered the good topics.
just gone over our strict 1 hour limit.
Yeah. See, yeah, Dave. When
This
we
is
play Mario Kart, there's no
really gone
racing
off track.
line and no like setting your tire pressure and your gear ratio and stuff.
Well, that was the thing that I wanted to do, and it really just. Oh, we've discussed that already, Booby.
Yeah, Bobby, you're at 90 minutes behind.
That was the first thing we talked about when we were actually talking about proper.
Next week, Indy 500 show. I think we could do that.
Matt's actually got to figure out what an IndyCar is, and
I know of an Indy car, and I'm going to do some stuff. Actually, before we go, Dave, I found one of my books. I have been reading this for study purposes. So
so now you know everything.
I've read a little bit. Wait a minute, where's the? So I'm getting through it.
That's a big book.
It's a big book.
Yeah.
It's 598 pages.
Wow.
And it's got, here we go, Dave, understeering, when front wheels lose grip, but the back ones do not. This is pretty deep. This is pretty advanced, Dave. So
yeah,
I'll continue reading that.
That's a good explanation on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we will definitely be discussing the Indy 500 next week. It's probably going to be like a 3-hour show once we talk about the Spanish Grand Prix, preview Monaco, talk about the Indy 500.
I just checked my schedule. Yeah, no, I'm good.
We have got Indy 500 qualifying this weekend too. If it will not be as exciting this year. I'm just trying to ignore.
No, I think Chopsticks needs to write our titles. These are gold.
Anyway, on that note, I think we'll call it a night. So thanks everyone in the chat. There'll be a new hat next week for the hat simulator, and we'll enjoy the racing on the weekend. We'll see you next week.
See you all.